I'll post it up over there.
Oh, sure. Well, I'll just send it to you direct rather than bugging everybody on the Goon Discord. Yeah, cool. Oh, right. I also forgot to put my sniper. Alright, I'll just put it there. What's my ELR? 4. Alright, so how do I put this without like completely screwing myself over in this? Sup, Res? Uh, so there's an important thing with regards to trenches. One, in how it's written in the Great War Module rulebook, and how it pertains to another rule. So if you want like 5 minutes or whatever to read, see what's up, and then potentially modify the setup of some of your units. Also, I hipped all of the trenches in the back that are already in that are essentially the gully hexes, just so that it's less like clutter on the map. If a unit gets there, we'll know. I'll just unhip the trench counter, so it'll be less confusing, hopefully.
So I assume you're referring to crest status.
Yes. Because under normal circumstances, that would have been all right. Well, none of your guys are on crest status, so I can just go wherever. Not that that's going to matter all that much, considering the current state of affairs of this scenario, but still. It's funny too because as soon as uh, as soon as I looked at this scenario, I was like, I know an SSR that, for whatever reason, is not used, but would immediately resolve every single problem I have with this scenario.
Pretty sure crest goes under the units, if I was reading that correctly.
Uh, I'm not 100% sure, but honestly, I don't think it really makes a difference in this case. Until two units are in multiple different locations, I guess we'll call it, I wouldn't really care all that much. I also really don't like the SSR to place the deep trenches, or I think more specifically the wire, because the it doesn't quite make sense how it's written.
Yeah, I did the best I could.
Yeah, that's not a none of anything that's going to happen on this scenario is your fault.
It feels like it hasn't really been play tested all that much. Like they haven't really polished it. That's the main issue. Like there's nothing major about it, but there's enough minor stuff that it's kind of like,
I think there's three major problems with this scenario, just looking at it. Um, but I kind of want to restrain myself on saying what exactly the problems are until after at least like the first turn, or maybe like the first two sessions, if possible, because it'll probably be enough to tell us whether or not this is this is a dead endeavor or not. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a peculiar scenario.
all right, yeah, I think I've dropped crest status on everybody that's going to get it.
Okay. All right. I don't think there's anything special I need to take care of. Nobody's really at a higher elevation, so ground snow is kind of just whatever. Oh, it'll make it harder to get from. Okay, that's dumb. If that, yeah, that's going to apply. That's dumb. Elevation change, up and down. Also, the other thing I thought was really strange is that the way that the rules are written for movement, it says like if you're moving out of a trench, you automatically go CX at the end of the movement phase, and you don't actually get to use double time, which is dumb because it follows with if a ladder is present for the exit, then the unit is not automatically CX and can double time. But there's no ladder counters.
Yeah, there's no ladders in the scenario, so it's kind of like, well,
It's like why is there a paragraph in the rules for something that literally doesn't exist? So I don't know. Anyways, I guess we'll get this one rolling. So I will roll the habitual weather. There is no change. Do I want? I'm not gonna bother with rally. So unless you have anything, we'll go to prep.
I hope it's all right. I labeled Rommel, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I was honestly, if you didn't, I was.
That's the only really somewhat interesting thing about the scenario. You know?
Wait till we get to the Denant campaign where Rommel becomes. I think he's a 10-2 or he's a 10-3. I think he's a 10-2. Just so he's not like super abusive, but yeah, he gets. Apparently, he's pretty crazy in that one. Well, I'm not gonna prep fire because there's no real sense to it. Um, and let's just get this bloodbath going. So I've labeled all my squads and all my groups just to make it a lot easier for movement and which because platoon movement and all that with this set of rules. So hopefully that will be fine. So I'm gonna start moving. We'll go with platoon B. So it is 1. And technically the leader also has to be considered moved. So that is 1.
Yeah. What effect does the snow have? Just makes everything white.
So snow makes it so that an elevation change or ground snow is what's in effect. If it was heavy snow, it'd be different. Ground snow basically makes it so any elevation change costs you an extra 1 movement factor. So to get out of the trenches, because they're deep trenches, it counts as an elevation change, which means that getting out of trenches not only doubles but also adds 1. So you essentially spend all your movement to get out of a trench. And it also costs an extra 1 to get down, so that also is kind of screwy. So if there's no objections, I will continue. So we'll have this be 2 on top. And 3.
All right. I have some fire here.
Okay.
FF5 will fire at EE4.
Okay.
So that's 3 down 1. So 2 down 1.
I think it's down 2 because I don't think wire. Excuse me. Well, I'm pretty sure wire does not count as hindrance. Yeah, it's not an obstacle, not a hindrance. There's no TEM to wire, so it should be down 2 for open ground and non-assault movement.
All right, so firing. 7, nothing.
Terrain.
And CC6 will fire at CC4. Same, so 2 down 2.
Okay.
That's a little bit better. That's a 1, so that is 1 KIA.
All right. Man, I feel like I have to go get a drink right away. One random selection, so top bottom, they tie, which means they are both dead. There's one residual. Also, I'm gonna do these this time, but I'm now making you manage your residual.
It's your deal. No worries. Sorry.
All right. So that was 3. Was that? So they will continue for 4.
What effect does the wire have on them?
So how a wire works is you have to get 2 wire, and then to get under wire, you have to roll 1 dice, or at least I'm pretty sure it's 1 dice. And you expend that number of movement points to get under the wire. If you don't, you stay on top of the wire. And I believe there's also an effect of, I forget if it's dangerous movement or something. Essentially, it says to move route beneath a wire counter, each unit must make a dice roll, so singular die, and expend that number of movement factors to be placed beneath the wire in the same location. Any remaining movement factors may be used to move route elsewhere normally. Blah blah blah. Once you're below, you're not affected by the wire anymore. Movement factors expended in an attempt to get beneath the wire qualify that unit for the first fire movement open ground DRM. If you're otherwise in an open ground hex, and the first fire non-assault movement. A unit on a wire can't use sewer tunnel movement. It may declare assault movement in its attempt to get beneath the wire, but if it uses all its MF in doing so, the assault movement status is voided. Defender is entitled to see the wire exit DR before declaring any first fire against the unit. Any unit whose wire exit DR is over its movement factor capability uses only its remaining movement factors, is hung up on the top of the wire, and cannot leave during the movement phase or route phase. A unit must declare movement with a leader before making its wire exit DR if it wishes to use the MF bonus thus derived to get off the wire. However, a unit which started the turn on a wire counter may decide after its wire exit DR whether or not to leave any excess PP on top of the wire in order to move beneath. So if I had machine guns or whatever.
Okay, so what is the effect now that you're on top of the wire currently? So you'd have to roll to see if you do it. You only have what, 4 movement? So I think that was your last movement point.
So I have 6 because of the platoon movement. Because I still have my leader. But if I ever did anything, I would still need to roll 1 or a 2 on all of those dice rolls. So I could theoretically get below the wire, but it's not exactly the easiest proposition regardless.
So if they're beneath the wire, is it a per unit thing or is it for the platoon?
It's a per unit thing. Also, any infantry unit on a wire counter must add a +1 to any attack it makes. So essentially, if you're kind of caught up on the wire, and it makes it difficult to do stuff. All right, so that was 4. I might as well try. So EE5 will roll their dice. They do not, so that's considered placed. I'm gonna do this all together, I guess, because that's the only way I can really make sense of these, since it's movement, but they're technically in platoon, but you can't platoon movement. I don't know how platoon movement would work, so I'm just going best guess here. So squad in DD5 also does its roll. Neither of them make it. The leader and their squad will go into EE5, and the last squad will follow up into DD4. That's 5 movement factors total. And then they will, the other squad will spend the last movement factor to get into DD5.
All right.
Platoon D, or sorry, C. If I can good, I can read. We'll do this for 1. Then this for 2.
Okay.
Then this for 3.
All right.
Just took the trench there. This for 4.
Okay, I will fire at you now. BB7 will fire at BB4.
Okay.
So 2 down 2.
Mm-hmm.
And 1.
So that was 4. The squad in CC5 will attempt to get under wire. They will. That movement, all that movement will be. I'm gonna have one squad go on top of the wire there. The squad and the leader will go down into BB5. The AA5 squad will go down. And then the 2 squads following up into AA5 for 5.
All right. Let's see. Z7, Z7 will fire at AA6.
Okay.
The usual, it's 2 down 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it on there just for practice, but I don't think it's going to have any effect.
Well, you never know, because this means if I try to get under the wire, that's a residual attack.
Yep. And Y6 will fire at. You know what? Y6 will hold off for the moment. Never mind.
They wouldn't be able to anyways because they're in the dugout.
Yeah. That is the other reason why I think that dugout position is dumb.
Yeah. So when I was looking at it, I was like, I'm trying to like visualize in the map, and I think I was thinking about these trenches. So I was like, oh well, I mean, it makes sense because it looks like it would be behind it, but I didn't factor in the orientation of the map. So now it's like, yeah, that's really dumb. Why would you have a dugout? It would make sense if the dugout was, say, over here or over
exactly.
here. That's really weird. Yeah. Anyways, I guess technically, would they have to spend? Those guys do have to spend points. All right. Well, only live once, I guess. So that was 5 total. Do I even want to? I would need 1s. No, they're done. Platoon C is done.
All right.
Platoon D will move there for 1. They will continue there for 2. There for 3. Here for 4. and they will stop like this. And lastly, Rommel and crew will do 1, 2, 3, 4, the 2 squads in FF4 will both attempt to get under. Only one manages, and they'll just spend 2 to get into the woods with Rommel.
All right.
All right. Defensive fire phase.
So does the trench count as hindrance?
The trench gives TEM, but wouldn't be hindrance to shoot across, unless I've like misunderstood something or just missed something in the rules for the Great War module. But
Okay. Well, in that case, the only fire I have is X7 to AA6.
okay. Oh, we can take residuals off.
So that is going to be a 2
Too flat.
flat.
Well, hey, sniper, sweet. 2 on 2 is what? So K1. Okay.
2 on 2 is K/1.
So they get casualty reduced, and then immediately take a 1 morale check, which they pass. This guy. And then sniper does not activate.
No, I actually think I forgot to place my sniper out, so I get no sniper this go.
Oh yeah. So I was basically all in these hexes. So as long as he's equidistant to 6 targets within 6 hexes, it'll be fine. And while you're doing that, I'm actually going to go.
All right, I'm fairly sure that was equidistant to at least 6.
Right. Yeah. That's fine. We'll do. 3. Makes it easier that way. Any other defensive fire?
No, I'm pretty sure nothing can see you really.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Defense fire phase. Alright, so I do have. It's gonna be like all +4s, whatever. Alright, what's my value here? Yeah, they're halved. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can like calculate this properly and hopefully get some good values out of this. So, AA6, AA5, BB5, CC5, and DD5 will all fire group against the unit in CC6. So that's 1, 5, 9, 17, 25. So it's 24 firepower up 4. It's 11 on 24 is a 1 morale check. I had to fight for that one.
And I
Alright. Might as well just do this for everybody else. Everybody else will target FF5. So that's 2, 6, 8, 12, 16, 24, 32, and 36. So it's 36 up 4. 10 on 36 is
2 empty.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, right. Well, actually, you know what? They're all shot. So prep fire can be taken off. Take out defensive and routing.
So I think if I route off of Crest, that would remove line of sight. I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to see if because it pretty sure it also lists in the should say all rules pertaining to trenches apply to deep trenches. All right. So
infantry beneath your trench counter may move, route, advance, withdraw from CC directly to any non-accessible, non-crest status lower elevation location without having to first exit to above that trench. So
yeah, I'm just the only thing I'd be curious is if they are considered adjacent still, because if they're not, then they're perfectly fine to essentially route away as far as they could. Infantry beneath a trench or sinker location may move routes directly to any accessible yada yada without having to first exit above, which makes sense. In the opposite direction. Position. Yeah, I think you're fine because if we look at like buildings and other such examples, like you're not technically adjacent if you're at a lower level in an adjacent hex. It's the same thing if you were on like the ground floor, like assume FF6 was a multi-story building, right? You could route to FF7 even if I was on the ground in the woods in whatever GG that is, because you're it's an adjacent hex, but they're not technically adjacent.
yeah. So okay. So I'm gonna route. If I route down into the trench, I can then keep moving down the trench basically. Because I want it line of sight. The line of sight will be broken to all those guys, so we're not considering them adjacent. Is that the idea?
The how I would read this is that um, so because these guys are at crest status, for example, they wouldn't be able to route this way because they can see these guys, right? So they can't get closer. However, um, nothing in my mind says that they wouldn't be able to route to FF6, since you can go from an entrenchment to uh, another hex essentially that has TEM without any sort of penalty. Um, it's why you can route into an open ground hex technically if it has an entrenchment without suffering penalties for that. So a legal path, if I understand it correctly, would be FF6, and I because the trench slash gully should connect to it, um, unless I missed something in trenches where they don't connect to buildings. Um, you could just keep routing along as long as you don't essentially get closer to any of these units. So you'd have to check
Well, I mean,
distances.
if it's from my initial hex, then I think I would have to stop in there because as soon as I move this way, I'm going to be slightly closer. That's 4 versus 5, I think.
So that's
One, two,
5.
three, four.
Yeah.
It's 5 hexes to AA6, and I think that's where I start getting closer. So yeah, I could route back to here, but that would be where I'd have to stop.
Yeah. But at the very least, by getting into FF7, then you're in because you're in a lower level, and you wouldn't be able to see these guys next turn. You could keep routing if you choose to not take up the DM status.
Yep, that's fine. And these guys.
Now, these guys can technically continue going because this is 2 hexes, that's 2 hexes, that's 2 hexes. So they never actually get closer. They just stay equidistant.
How are we? What are we? Are we? What's the cost we think to get down from Crest? Is it free? I know it's 2 to get up to Crest, but
It should be the reverse cost. It says it says in the
4 or 5 for routing.
infantry moving into a deep trench at the cost of 2 movement factors. Movement cost for entry cumulative. It says in the crest status. I think crest status is 1, but we'll double check that. Crest status. Expending 2 movement factors in its movement phase to do so. So it would be 2, and then ground snow adds 1. So yeah, it would cost you 3 to get down into the deep trench, and then whatever the cost is to run around in trenches.
It's 1, regardless of the other terrain.
So you could move 3 hexes essentially, because you broken units have a movement factors of 6.
3 to get rid of the crest. 4, 5. Can you unhip the trench in FF7 just so I remember?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. There you go. I'll unhip the. Oops. I'll unhip the chain of them at the back, just so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's fine. Just so I remember that they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see why I wanted to do an overlay?
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah. Technically, I mean, we could just use the gullies as is, because they don't look all that different. But the alternative would be, yeah, would be those things.
Yeah, I had some graphics, but I couldn't get the sizing to line up for whatever reason. So
Oh, gotcha. I mean, they do have some, they kind of look like it, so you could technically use it, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, those deep trench ones, those are the ones that I made. So you know.
Hedge. Yeah.
They're just little MS Paint essentially. I took a road and modified it a little bit. So Yeah, no, I'll work on that again for whenever we have trenches again, which I think will be never.
All right.
So yeah, I think that's it for my route phase. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to see. Oh, I can't. Seriously, there's no. A unit may not use minimum move to get beneath wire, nor do so in the advanced phase. Cool. So I essentially have a bunch of units that will be quote unquote stuck on wire. Um, Weird. How do I want to do this? Ram and Co will all advance into GG5. The backwards guys or whatever will also go into the woods. The squad underneath the wire in FF4 will advance into the trench hex. I'm pretty sure I don't have enough movement factors to move into the trench itself, so we'll just leave it as is. The squad in CC5 will do the same thing. The squad in BB5 will go up into CC5, and I'll have a squad from AA5 go down. Can't do anything with B platoon. And D platoon will essentially move. Oops, like so.
All right.
And that's it for advanced phase. No CC. French turn 1.
Oui.
Yeah, next thing you know, we'll get gusts, and then it'll somehow do something with like drifting snow or something.
just when it couldn't get worse. Okay, yeah, no weather change. Who do I want to self rally? AA8 will try to self and fail. Wait, they don't get a mod for being in the trench, do they?
I don't think so. I was actually about to look that up. I think rally is only if you're in woods or building. There's a -1 DRM for any rally attempt which occurs in a building, pillbox, trench, or woods. So that was what, a 7 or a 4? So you get a -1 but a +1 for self rally.
Okay, then
You're still off by 1.
Yeah, they fail barely. That's all right.
That's close though.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Is the dugout attached to the trench?
I assume so. I can't. If it's, I wouldn't even care if that's not like a rule or whatever, or somehow like was omitted in the rules. I can't understand why you'd have a dugout that's not connected.
Yeah, I just want to clarify before we get going. You know that we're gonna play as if it's part of the trench system. So therefore, otherwise it gets ugly. Like I have to move out and I'm under the wire, and then I have to move over to the trench, and then
Yeah. Also, like it says, like Rommel will use all his cunning and mastery during an assault on the French trenches. Refusing a classic, straightforward, and deadly assault, he uses cover, sneaking his men out of their trench by crawling. Yes, crawling is exactly what I did over covered ground. Totally.
I mean, I could kind of see it like over here because you do have a covered approach over there, really. But yeah, like this is just like okay, sure. All right, let's see. I think that's it for me. You don't have anybody to rally, I believe.
No. Also, yeah, so I think the dugout is connected to the trenches because it claims the rules state it's like a bunker, and bunkers only exist by having a pillbox that is connected to, I think, 2 trenches minimum. So it's automatically connected.
Yeah, definitely need to work on those rules, I think.
I mean, it would be nice if the they designed like some special counters. At least like if you had a dugout, it's nice to say, "Oh, use the pillbox counter," but it'd be even better if you had a custom counter to tell to show.
Yeah, no, and I would, as we go along, I'll start trying to get a little more. I haven't much. The units are very easy to create now. I can do those pretty quickly.
Nice.
So that's not a big deal. Hopefully the look is okay. I think they're fairly clear. I mean,
Yeah, I mean you can tell how that they're different from standard counters too.
yeah, the font is a little bit different because I couldn't find an exact match.
Yeah, and then the data's all spaced out a little bit more and whatnot. I think it's different enough to actually like it's noticeable and good if you ask me because you don't confuse the two basically.
Yeah. So if we need any more going, I think it'll be easier and easier as we get out of the
Mm-hmm.
earlier scenarios. Because
Oh
we'll
yeah,
get more into World War II stuff. But yeah. Okay. Let's
that
see.
and it won't be like completely like custom work.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's like I said, it's pretty easy to do, and it's not a big deal. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, BB7. BB7 will fire at BB5,
Okay.
so that's a 2 flat.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Z7 will also fire at BB5, and will fail in cower. X7 will fire at AA5.
Okay.
2 flat. 5. That's an NMC.
Pins.
That's it for prep fire.
Okay.
Movement. One.
Outside?
No. They're still
Oh,
in the
okay.
trench. Just dropped them.
Okay. If they're in a trench, I can't see them. So you can make as much moves as you want.
Yeah. They will go 3. They're still in the trench.
Mm-hmm.
And the squad will go 4-5 to get crest status. 4-5-6. I'm sorry.
Okay. I forget if that's. Pretty sure it won't be considered open ground, but as they get into crest status, I will shoot at them.
Yep.
It'll be a fire group of. Might as well just do all these goons. So it'll be AA5, AA6, BB5, and the CC6 squad. So that's 4, 8, 12 firepower, and it's up 3. It'll be 4 for the trench, but non-assault movement down 1.
Yep.
No, that is not going to work. Oops.
Three. 4. going to put these guys under the trench. This is all in trench movement.
Yeah.
4 for that guy, 1 for this guy.
Question: Are those guys? Did those guys do their task check?
They don't have to. They're in a trench.
They don't have to do the task check now.
No, when you're in a deep trench, let's see, where is it? It's in the World War I rules. I gotta look it up because it's in like a weird place. Here it is. It's 13.22.
Oh, got it.
Which is 132 is NA while units are in their own trenches and not trenches captured during the course of the ongoing scenario. So the out of command stuff goes away when they're in the trench. They can run around on their own.
Cool.
Which isn't going to help me all that much, but you know, it makes life a little bit easier, I guess. So 1. So that guy moved 4. He's stopping in U8. U8 moved V8. That's W8 2. X7 3. Y7 4. Okay. V8 is going to drop for 3, move to W8 for 4. Similarly, what is that? U7 is going to do the same thing, just drop crest and then move 1 over.
Okay.
And the leader in the squad will do the same. And move to B. So I think that's all my movement. Let's fire.
Those guys are in pre-status. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, this is gonna be like the dumbest thing ever, but I'm just gonna have everybody possible will shoot at the crest status guys in the A8. It's gonna be long range for like half of them, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 24, 28, 2, 3, 4, so 28, that's 36, and then everybody else as well is also just shooting, but it maxes out at 36, and that's a +4.
So an 11?
Yeah.
Well, that's a 2MC.
2MC.
Good pass. Oh, heat of battle. Woo!
Surrenders. Berserk.
Yeah, surprised me.
I'll just put that many final fires.
They're not broken in their experience. They are French, so we get a +1. That's it. So just a +1.
It's 2 dice. 8 battle hardening. So essentially, it goes up the the next quality. So it's a 8-0 instead of a 7-0. There we go. No, that was the leader, right?
No, the leader is not in crest status. The leader is in the bottom of the trench with the unit.
Oh, okay.
So he's not in the same unit. He's not in the same location. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at it the other way around because of the way it's displayed.
All right. No. The leader should be down on the bottom, trying to yell at his troops to get the hell out. So I think that's what happens. His morale goes up one. Yeah.
Hold on, let's check here. French, first line, yeah, becoming 3-4-8s.
Well, I mean, when you take fire from an entire from 3 companies worth of Germans, I think that might have some impact.
Yeah, it's that French resolve.
Red paints. Okay, I think that's it for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got no more defensive.
I got nobody that can fire. Everybody is in. Well, I take that back. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, what would it?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Unit in W7 will fire at AA6. So that's a 1 flat. I guess I'm assuming the arc allows me to do it. I don't know.
AA8 to AA6.
There to there.
Oh, W7 to AA6. Whatever that is. Yeah, you halved and then flat.
Yeah. So that's
Six.
a 1, 6 on 1. Nothing. And AA8 will fire at EB5 again.
Okay.
So that is a 1 flat. Nothing.
Also, I forgot, and it would have changed. It wouldn't have changed the outcome, but I should have added an extra +1 because I have units on wire that are trying to shoot.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
You still got your battle hardenings. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Not really. Okay, that's it for advanced. Routing. I think everybody's okay. They're all in trenches, so they're good. I don't think you have anybody that's actually routed yet. Advance phase. Whee! Sorry for all the counter shuffling.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. No close combat. Your turn.
Hooray. Weather, no change. Take out the preps. I don't have any rallies, so you may attempt yours.
I have the 1 and AA8. They fail.
Alright, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work because a unit that goes into a trench doesn't have to follow platoon movement. So does that mean that as they
Friendly
get,
trenches. Friendly trenches.
it says entrenchments while a platoon is entrenched? It doesn't say friendly, unless that's in a different location.
3.22. So the no leader penalty, which is the out of command thing, which is the the normal task check,
Right,
is
but
not when you're in their own trenches and not trenches captured during the course of the ongoing scenario.
I guess the problem is that like non-platoon movement. It's so weird. So it says squad isolated from the rest of the platoon during the course of the game, yada yada, 1.4.13. And then further to that, platoon movement is not used while the platoon is entrenched. However, as it gets out of its entrenchment, it must achieve formation as soon as possible. Blah 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 blah. So if it gets out of platoon movement by going into a trench, then theoretically it doesn't need to do platoon movement. So regardless of if it's in a friendly location or not, right? God, this is so. this is these rules.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're technically not out of command, okay? Because that rule does not, or let's back that up. Units in friendly trenches are not considered out of command. Now, whether or not that means that, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should be required to be near a leader. I guess I don't know.
It's also strange because it's like uh, with the command radius thing, it's like if they're within like 2 hexes or whatever, but how does how does that apply? Like, how does combat or hex radius apply to a unit that can't see the leader of the platoon that they're in?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's I don't even know. Okay, well, going forward, then, yeah, in order to move, I'll actually have to pass a task check unless they're in platoon
No,
formation.
no. So how I understand it is that your guys are fine. Like they can move however they want because it would be like uh they can see the enemy are over there, so they can move in the trenches no problem. Um, I think what the intent might be is that even enemy squads still don't need to um, pass a task check to get out of command because the trenches like they're kind of um, one directional in a way. Like you can't really screw up where you want to go. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like the intent also is because you have two rule sections that both talk about the exact same thing, and neither really clarifies it for the other. It's just kind of strange.
Yeah, let's play it easy. Yeah, sure. So once your guys hop in the trench, they're okay. They can move around. Um,
I just assume too that despite being out of platoon movement, it doesn't mean that they get the um, the out of command negation, right? So shooting units, they'll still need to pass a task check in order to do that if they're outside of the command radius, right?
yeah,
I,
yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah.
I,
Okay, so you can move around, but to actually do stuff, you gotta pass a task check.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So um, I'm gonna hope I get this right. So the C squads, all of them will be moving, or the C platoon. The first guy to move will be just the squad on the trench, so they're just gonna go straight in. which should cost 3 movement factors. It's 3. 1 for snow, and then 2 to get into the trench, I believe.
Sure, that sounds good to me.
So he'll spend 3 to get in there. Meanwhile, the 2 squads in CC5 will each individually roll to see if they get under. I think they all have 6 movement points because they're with the leader. But I'm just gonna double check to see if you spend all of your movement points. Okay, no, it's still fine. But does it count as like pin or anything? I don't even think it does. Minimum move. You may not use minimum move, but that's different. No, I think those guys are both fine. The leader and the squad, they will both make it under. The squad in AA6 also makes it under. And the last squad will just go in AA6 on top of the wire.
Okay.
And that's all their movement because some of them had to spend 6 points to get under the wire. Alright, B guys. Oh, that's right. B is the platoon that lost 2 squads already. That's why I was confused. Squads in DD5 will go under wire, and I have a maximum of 1 after that. EE5 leader squad. They all make it under. And then I have 1 movement factor left, so they will each go into DD6 and EE6.
Okay. So we're in movement phase, yeah?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Rommel and Co. will all be getting, or all attempt to get under the wire. So Rommel, squad. Alright, that's going to kill their movement. The 2 squads here will go on top of the wire, and the 1 squad that is not marked as moved will go under the wire. And the squad that was on top is now in the trench. Should I put a counter or anything so that they're like free movement? I guess it doesn't matter. They're in a trench. I'll just have to try to remember.
That's just
over here, platoon D, 1 stack. DD4 will move to DD5. EE4 will move to EE5, and then these are the 2 squads we'll fill in at DD4 for 1.
Okay, I have fire for you.
Mhm.
A8 is going to fire at DD5.
Yep.
So it is down 2, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 5 normal morale check.
Leader, squad breaks.
All right.
Does does. It's that much time. So they will continue their move. The leader and the squad in DD5 will try to get under the wire. So leader, squad makes it, leader does not, and both of them will take a 1 firepower down 2 shot. If you would like to roll.
So 4, so normal morale.
So leader and squad breaks. In the meantime, the 2 squads in EE5 will attempt to get under the wire. One does, one does not. And over here, I have 1 squad that will go on the wire on EE5, and the other will go into CC5.
Alright, I will fire at them.
Okay.
From BB7. Whoops. So that is 2 down 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3, which is 1 MC.
Pins. And that's it for movement phase.
Defensive fire. Z7 will fire at DD6.
Okay.
So that is a 2 flat.
Mm-hmm.
Thing. The unit in crest status in X7 will fire at AA4, also 2 flat.
Okay.
Nothing. And the unit in W7 will similarly fire at AA4 as well, 2 flat as well. 5 is normal morale.
Break and okay.
All yours.
Alright, I'm going to try and get as many guys applicable to shoot at BB7. So BB5 will be 2. The 2 unpinned squads in CC5 is 6 total. Oh, I can't even do it because those guys are broken. So it'll be just 6 from these guys, up 4. 7 on 4.
Normal. Pinned.
And then the oops, not that guy. And then the rest will also make the same shot towards the same group. So it'll be a +5 instead of +4. So EE5 is 6. EE6 is 10 total. And then DD6 is 12 total. I don't think I have anybody else that can reach that far. So 12 up 5, 11 on 12.
Barely a miss.
Wow. And that's it. Route phase.
I don't have anybody.
So route's gonna be weird.
I mean, it's basically only going to be the dudes in crest status, so these two right here, I think, are going to be the two that are really going to control things.
Well, I'm just trying to see, because I forget if routing units may pay or must pay wire movement costs during route in the same manner. If a wire counter prevents a broken unit from routing away from an adjacent, the lot is eliminated or subject to surrender. Oh, wow, okay. That's even harsher. So it states a broken unit in open ground that is within the normal range of a known enemy unit or adjacent to a known armed and unbroken enemy unit, and that fails to pass his wire exit dice roll with enough movement factors to route into an allowable route hex, is eliminated for failure to route.
Does that apply to guys that are under the wire or on the wire?
I would assume that it's on the wire, because if you're under the wire, then it should have quote unquote no effect.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make sure that's the. Infantry may move route beneath a wire counter only during their movement route phase, blah blah, including the same movement route phase they moved on top. If able to do so, even if they remain in the same location and only move route, they'll crawl beneath the wire counter. Now, this is a little strange because, I mean, I guess not altogether too strange, but just trying to figure this whole thing out here. So I have two broken squads here. One is on top of the wire and one is not. You know what? I'm thinking about this, and it's like they shouldn't even be able to be shot. But whatever. We already played it, so. Because there's woods, right? So nobody should be able to even see these guys. And since that's technically the closest place he has to go, that guy's gonna route there. The other broken guy on top of the wire is going to attempt, so he will pay all 6.
Just a question: can't he route like actually into the trench?
It does connect. Yes, he could probably route into there. It'd be 2 into the woods, and then 3 into the trench. So yeah, technically that's possible. Now, this guy wasn't in open ground and within range of anybody that could shoot him. What's BB7? Nope, they're also blocked. So that guy's just under the wire, but still broken. Now these guys, on the other hand, there's 4 range. So no matter what they do, they're kind of boned.
They're gonna have to low crawl back.
Well, I'm gonna try and essentially route anyways and pay the cost. The only question I have is if you're under a if you've considered like if you're considered under a wire, do you, when you go into an adjacent wire hex, do you still have to go on top of the wire? I guess is the question I have.
Uh, I would say let's say no, just for the purposes of this game. I mean, I think you can make an argument either way. Like if you think that the wire is like a physical line barrier, which it kind
Mm.
of is, then to me, getting inside the wire means you're literally on the other side of that barrier, so you're moving back and forth. So um, it's kind of like being on the other side of a wall, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to keep paying, or that like, oh, we're suddenly hung up on the wire again. How does this keep happening?
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, that makes perfect sense to that makes enough sense to me that I'm willing to go with that. That once you're inside the wire, you're in the wire, and
okay, so AA6, the broken guy there is trying to get to CC6, and he's doing so by going to BB5 and then CC6. Now you have a unit in BB7, which is 2 hexes away, which is 2 hexes and 2 hexes. So that is technically a legal move. Um, there will be interdiction though. So regardless, stuff will happen. So Dice gets all of his thing, which means he's stuck, uh, technically stuck under the wire. Um, route broken unit is within range. See, that's the thing. Like he does pass the wire exit because he has 6 movement factors as a broken unit, but how does this? I assume yada yada. Weird. I can only imagine that there's got to be like a plus modifier that I haven't figured out. So I'm just gonna assume these guys are just dead. So there. And that's it for it. Advances. Uh, Rommel and Co. will advance into GG5. All the guys in EE6 will advance into FF6. The guy under the wire in FF4 will advance into the. Can he get into? It's one to get into the hex, 2 into the trench, and 1 for ground snow, so he can't. So he's just there. The squad already in the trench is going to go into the trench in EE6. Both squads in DD6 will go into the trench. The squad under the wire will go into EE6, but not in the trench. The squad in the trench there is going to go into, or continue into the trench adjacent to the BB7 guys. The half squad will go into BB6. The squad and leader will go into the woods in CC6. The 2 squads also do the same thing. That guy's not there. These guys are moved. I think that's all I can do. Yeah, that's all I can do. CC phase, no CC. French turn 2.
okay. For my self rally, Well, do those guys? That's an interesting question there. What happens to them when you advance next to them?
Well, they're not adjacent because they're in the trench, right?
Yeah. So, all right, we'll try and self-rally those guys. So +1, -1, and they fail. And the unit in AA8 gets a -1, I believe.
Yes.
And they successfully rally. Excellent. And over to you.
Broken guys. Can I rally if they're on two different sides of the wire? Yes, okay, cool. So DD5 will attempt to rally. That does not occur. They're no longer DM. I'm pretty sure nobody can rally the squad in CC6 because that is definitely not the same location. And that's all I got.
All right. If you don't mind, I need to take a quick bio break.
Sure. That's GG5. Ugh. Alright, let's do... I'm going to do something just to make this a lot easier. This is a hex grid. It is a draggable overlay. You can just bring up. It's super nice. You can adjust it by like very fine points if you really want to. There. Doesn't line up perfectly, sadly, but I mean, it's close enough. So I'm gonna need some arrows as well. Because Hypnobeard will be able to get a bunch of units to come in from those spots. So let's just do some short arrows. And we'll clone that. Oh no.
I'm back.
There.
I'm going to try something. Hold on. Okay, there's something in the way that your system is set up that is breaking the LOS rules.
Are you sure?
Because it was working on the file that I sent you, and now it is not. So something has gone wrong in that somewhere in there.
I just don't get how that makes any sense because like the game isn't throwing up an issue when I load these things.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't know. I don't know if it's something, some overlay that you've got going on, or I don't know what it is. But that's what it looks like. What I'll do is I'll send you another copy of the original file, and we'll check it then. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's breaking line. I'm getting a clean line of sight through Woods hexes. So
Sure, but I mean I guess the point would be that nothing says that the woods doesn't exist, so you should never assume that you can shoot through it. I was just trusting that there was nothing there because the trench hex. I realized there was an actual woods there.
yeah, no, I didn't either, and I totally forgot about that. But no, what I'm saying is the LOS tool is not recognizing it either. Like the LOS tool should be throwing you, like if you try to throw something, it should break there. So yeah, no, I mean I'm not upset about the fact that we missed that both ways. That's fine.
I mean, I am. That's two squads. That's at least two squads.
So yeah, I mean, you had that whole end of it fire at me, and they probably maybe not necessarily should have been, but yeah, it's okay. I'm cool. It is what it is. But yeah, there's something going on wacky. We may need to do a little test during the week or something to see if we can figure out what's causing. Because honestly, the LOS tool is very helpful.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not the end of the world.
No, that's true, but it makes it easier to calculate like hindrances and stuff like that. because it will do that for you. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
No worries. Also, I think I got this right. So, I just put a hex grid and arrows that point at where your reinforcements are going to eventually come in.
Yeah, next turn, right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Prep fire.
Oh my god, I can. Oh, please tell me that's not possible.
What?
Well, I could theoretically, if I have this correctly, I might actually be able to like essentially kill all your reinforcements without having to do anything.
What? Occupying those hexes?
Yeah, because I think so. If I remember correctly, um, man, there was the ASL Discord was talking about this exact scenario. I think, or not this scenario, but this exact type of scenario. Um, it's like a scenario that you can break because there's Marines. Come on. Oh, maybe they wrote it as USMC. Essentially, how it goes is that there's a scenario where the Japanese have to like defend a location or whatever, or like they can set up in a way that literally prevents a unit from coming off board on board because the for a unit to get onto the map they have to enter a hex obviously, but you can't enter a hex that is occupied by an enemy unit. So if you can't enter a hex with an that's occupied by an enemy unit, you can't actually move on board. And one of the um, I was telling you this, I think, with the last scenario. A unit that does not get on board during the turn it's supposed to get on is just gone. Unless this,
That's not true.
so unless the scenario states that they can come
No,
on
that's
a
not
turn
true.
or later.
No, that's not true. There's a rule for it. 2.5 under entry. Okay. If the entry was to have been by a certain hex, but that hex is unenterable due to being occupied by an enemy unit during the friendly movement phase, which is what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Entry must be made in a non-obstructed hex within 4 hexes of the scheduled entry point, but 1 game turn later. So basically, they shift to try and enter from another place 4 hexes within 4 hexes of the obstructed hex. If all hexes are still obstructed, the radius of permissible entry is extended another 4 hexes in both directions at a cost of another turn's delay, and so on. So basically, you can theoretically prevent me from entering indefinitely or reasonably indefinitely, assuming you can cover all of the hexes along the side of the board, basically. But
there's enough units to do it.
You do, but you're going to have to keep moving to do that. So yeah, and basically that just keeps displacing my guys and delaying them a turn. So yeah, you theoretically could do that, but it's not just as easy as occupying the initial entry hexes and they're done.
Well, then I'm curious as to what the other thing was. As like maybe it was like oh, you know what? You could funnel guys too in the same way. All forces scheduled to arrive must enter blah blah blah. Although if capable of movement in the advanced phase, entry may be delayed until then. So I guess yeah, okay. So you could at least advance phase or advance into an and go straight into CC against units, but still. Seems being occupied by blah 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 blah. C 8.4.4. Yeah. Fuck. Then what was their thing? Unless it was like getting
like an
off
FSR
map
or something like that prevented it.
Nah, there's forget. I really wish I knew what specific scenario it was, because it's got a reputation for that. So unless like everybody, like nobody ever looked at 2.5, which I guess is theoretically possible, or it might be it might be that you have to get units off map from a specific road hex. So as soon as you like occupy that road hex, you can't. Like you just get stuck in CC with a Japanese squad, which is Japanese are pretty good at CC, so it gets annoying.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. If they have to go out through a specific hex and you block that hex, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That seems pretty straightforward to me. I mean, particularly for ASL, it's not, you know, you can't use it voluntarily, which apparently somebody tried. So,
Well, so there is a rule. I forget if it's the entry or whatever, but there is a rule that states that you can delay the entry of units like voluntarily. Um, but I'm not sure if that applies to a scenario that states that units must go in on a certain turn. And there's also another rule, which is I think it's the map board. Um, where is it? Setup limitations. Oh, there was. I forget which spot specifically. I remember I found it once. I couldn't stop laughing at it. It basically states that um, any unit in your order of battle that you choose not to set up at the start of the game is forfeited. So that is possible to completely lose. I can't imagine why it would ever be like useful or important, but
yeah. Okay, so if you're cool with it, I think that if you do block those hexes, I'll just be displaced, and we can
yeah. Right for right now, it's not gonna matter. If you're just delayed a turn, then yeah, it's not as amazing a move as it would have been.
Well, I mean, it would force me to come in probably down here.
Sure, but if I don't block off all the hexes, then you have to come through those hexes anyways. So
Yeah, true.
so
Okay.
unless you want to advance into Rommel in a forest hex and get into massive CC problems.
Okay, I am going to fire group Z8, AA8, and BB8 on CC6.
Okay.
So that's going to be an 8 up 2, I believe. Or up 1.
Should just be up 1.
8 up 1. $10, which is nothing, of course. That's it for prep fire movement. Gonna try and position these guys so crest status are on top and people that are in the bottom of the trench are underneath crest status. If that's all right.
Yep. As they go into that hex, because those guys moved from what AA8 to BB7,
and they will assault. Yes.
They're assault moving. All right. Well, I might as well take that shot. A connecting trench is was it +3? I think it says in the rules.
Yep. +3.
Yeah. So 8 + 3. Yeah, just 8 + 3. All right. 6 on 8.
1 MC.
Check.
All right. Leader succeeds, but is pinned.
Leader's broken. He's a 7.
Oh, it's a 1. That's right. He breaks. Squad succeeds.
And squad takes a task check for leader breaking. Actually, sorry. Never mind. They're equal morale. It's only if they're lower morale. Strike that 6 off the record books, please.
All right. That's part of the movement there.
Yep.
Round 4. I'll shuffle these guys under the next time. And 5. That's it. That's a fire.
That's throwing me off. I can't get anything else. Oh wait, that is the. Yeah, fire group of BB6 and CC6 will shoot into BB7, the guy in the crest line. That's 16 up 3. No, I don't think that's anything.
Nope, nothing.
All right. Now the can you shoot past? Does anything say that the trenches, the deep trenches, can, if you can shoot through an entire trench? I don't think there's anything against it.
I mean, if there's nothing against it, then these people have never actually looked at a World War I trench. But if there isn't anything, then sure.
Well, let's see here. Because I don't mind house ruling that they can. Because I mean, yeah, it would be kind of silly if it's like, oh yeah, you can totally see down the entire way and wave to Jim and say hi.
Yeah, I mean, they were specifically dug so that was impossible. Like the what is it, the sawtooth or whatever it is that you always see that is so that is prevented. But no, I mean, I don't think there's anything that says that you just can't see out of it unless you're in crest status. Though, well, wait a minute. Jesus. 2.1.5.
2.1.5. Yeah, but the what this is trying to say, from how I understand it, is that to see into it, you have to be in the same hex. So, for example, my guys in FF6 can't see the guys in FF7 because they're not in the same hex, so they can't look down into.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I'm just saying that's the only thing I can see that talks about
Right,
LOS
right.
otherwise. So yeah, I mean, I think RAW, it's a free line of sight. Woohoo! You know?
No, I think I'm gonna automatically house turn that because yeah, it doesn't. I can see World War II trenches because like they didn't dig as many and whatever, but that should yeah.
Yeah, maybe like only adjacent. You have LOS into maybe adjacent trench hexes. That might make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, well, that's usually how it goes for a lot of the edge cases, right? It's just like yeah, if it's adjacent, it's fine. But um, yeah, so I'm just gonna yeah, it's not worth it. Um, advanced fire phase.
My dudes here. The squad in BB7 will fire into CC7.
Hmm.
So that is half doubled and up 3.
2 up 3.
So that's a 2 up 3. Nothing. That's it for advanced fire. Routing. Wee. The leader, I think, routes to the next trench hex.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's it.
Yeah, I have nobody to route.
Advanced phase. That's it for advances.
Okay.
We do have some CC.
Hooray! And so, reflect natural inclination of the soldiers to get into hand-to-hand fighting. Normal CC can only be declared if fighting units are not in the same location. So automatically, this is a hand-to-hand CC, or it'll be hand-to-hand.
Yep, that's good. I get a -1.
Yeah, we both get -1s.
No, I get an additional -1
Oh,
because I am the French. So the question is, do we do ambush?
no, you don't do an ambush for trench. I don't see anything in the rules in this to suggest you get ambush either. Ladder stacking TM. Nope. I don't even think there's anything for the dugout, which is like super strange. You would think that at least dugout you'd be able to ambush.
So let's see. I think you are at a 1-1, and I am at a 1-2.
That is correct.
And you have a net -1, and I have a net -2.
Uh, no, I think it's just I think you only get a -1. There's no -2, and I don't get a -1.
Okay.
Let me just
So
see here, because I don't think in the regular rules hand to hand gives you. I think that's the point of the higher numbers is you don't get a minus. Let's just see. To hand. Yeah, no, it's just use the red numbers for me, and you'll get a -1.
oh, and I'm on the red numbers as well. So
Yeah.
I get you.
My guys will surely do nothing. Actually, sorry, that was a casualty reduction, not a kill.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that was me not checking. I was looking at the oh no wait, no, sorry. Again, I was looking at the red numbers and not the black numbers as it should be. There. Or as it shouldn't have been. Whatever. Point is that those guys are dead.
I think that's all the CC.
Yep. Eight, no weather. Rally. My squad in the trench in CC6 will attempt self rally. They make it, barely, but take it. And the squad in DD5 will attempt to rally the leader, and he also passes.
All right. My leader will attempt to rally. And fail. That's it.
Prep fire. Technically, those will connect. 16. I'm going to do 24 firepower with the squad in the trench in CC6, and then the two squads in DD6 is a fire group. They can do that, right? They can fire group in a trench. I don't see any rules that say no. And technically they're adjacent, so it wouldn't be out of the norm.
Yep.
So 24 up 3. It's a 10. 1 MC. How else do I do this? Oh, cool. I have that. Right. I don't have to worry about that nearly as much. All right. Moving phase. This is going to get a little screwy here. So, the stack on top of the trench is also going to go is also technically moving with the platoon in CC5 because it's command radius and all that. So, one squad is essentially going into the adjacent hex. I believe I can pay the extra in order to get him in the trench. So he's paying 5 to get into the adjacent hex and into the trench. The leader and the other guys are going to go into the trench itself, and the squad in CC5 will spend 5 to get under the wire. Oh shit, hold on. The trench is a max of 2, is it? Fuck, it is.
Yep.
Alright, well, one squad will not be able to do that. And you know what? Since I already have him paying stuff, moving around, he'll go with the other squad and be on top of the trench.
Okay.
And that'll count as 5 movement factors total. So they will continue to DD6, I guess. Or DD. Yeah, DD6. Or 7, sorry. Ugh. Over here, I'm going to have the leader and a squad will go into there. They will spend 1 to get there. That squad will spend 1 to get there. And the other squad will spend 1 or 2, sorry. So they've all spent 2, but one squad is spending 2 to get into the house. They will then continue with with 2 squads going there, and the third squad moving up with the leader himself. This will put the broken squad in DM. That's 4 total. And I'm not going to move any further. Over here, all 3 of these hexes are going to essentially try to get under the wire. So FF4 first, 2, they both get under it. I've paid 5 max so far. An EE5, top, bottom. And then the leader will also get under. And they've now all paid maximum, so they're at least all under the wire, but I can't move any further. Rommel and Co. will assault move into the building. And I think that's it. Defensive fire.
Z7 will fire at DD7.
Okay.
So flat. Nothing. AA8 will fire at the half squad in BB6. Also 2 flat. And BB7 will do the same. That's why not. And nothing. And lastly, the Soul Squad over here in Crest mode in X7 will fire at BB6. And nothing. It's fire.
Fire group between DD7 and EE8 will shoot at BB7. It's 8 firepower up 3. Nope. The squad and leader will assault fire against the broken squad. So it's 4 firepower up 3. Nope. Have I not rolled a 4 at all? I'm very surprised. Oh, that's why. Okay. Um, sorry, just doing something here. Because I feel like I should have triggered your sniper at least once now. But it wasn't marked. So I'm trying to look for any 4s. Wouldn't tell me in there. The stats don't only give you a breakdown. They don't of total numbers. Apparently,
I am knock on wood, actually going quite well today, so
yeah, no time to change. I don't think I've rolled a single 4, which is frankly amazing. Yeah, weird. What's my stats? CC 12. Alright. I do have the guys who. I'll have the squad that moved into the trench. They will shoot at the broken guy adjacent. So 4 up 3. Okay, that's nothing. No other shots. Route phase. Fire groups.
the only one with the routing guy. I'm pretty sure FF7. Can they technically route there? That would be the only place I could see that they could go, but I don't think they can. So I think they're going to be eliminated.
I think they're eliminated because they can't route to the GG because they would essentially still be adjacent, and they can't route to EE8 because they're adjacent to the guys on top of the trench. But the other guy is he's fine to route to wherever along the trench system.
Well, he's technically they're going to overstack, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, stacking limit. So I guess it just increases the movement by 1.
I can keep routing though, however, correct?
Yes. Yeah. As long as the way I've always read it is that as long as the terrain that you're in is connected to others of I don't want to say same type, but as long as it's connected to others that are considered rally or route terrain, then it's fine.
So in that case, I'm going to route this guy all the way back over here. Just along the trench line. So I'm still overstacked in Z7, but
Yeah, so it's the way overstacking works is it's I think an additional movement factor per overstacked unit. So
I might not be able to get that far back. Let's see. It's going to be
well, so
2.
the broken guy in AA8 is a it's a leader, right? And
I still
I
have 2 squads in there though, so all of these hexes are at max capacity essentially. So it's going to be essentially an extra movement factor, I believe, to get in.
so it's he's fine because it's 2 to get into BB7 because it's an additional per squad, right? So BB7 is 2, and
Per
then
overstack squad or per squad? That's
it's per squad equivalent. I think is the technical
no.
stacking.
So if I go in, let's see, I'm now overstacked by 1 squad. So is that a +1 or a +3 for the 2 squads that are there?
Entrance of a location overstacked by personnel costs 1 additional movement factor for each squad or its equivalent fraction rounded up in the location that exceeds normal personnel stacking limits.
So it's going to be a +1. So it's going to be 2 for each hex essentially as I go
Yeah.
along here.
It says fractions rounded up, but like I kind of wouldn't equate 2 liters because technically that's point, you know, 2.5 or something of a half squad, which could technically whatever. So yeah, I would just count squads in this case.
I mean, I don't mind. If we
No,
want to
no,
say
no,
we
no.
want to
It's
call split the difference and stop an AA8, that's fine. Either hex is fine. I want to push him back further than
no, no.
BB7.
Z fine. Z7's fine. I think honestly, it's just a matter of like I can't understand anybody who would say like, well, there's 2 liters, so technically, if you fraction round it up,
Let's see.
those are the people I would flip their dice cup over during a tournament. I would I would smudge the glass on it.
So I think that's all of my routing.
Okay. I have no routes. I said weird. Oh, whatever. Advanced phase. How crazy do I want to do this?
Well, it's good old ASL, so I just looked it up. 5 SMC equals a half squad.
Yeah.
2 non-inherent crews or half squads equal squad, but less than or equal to 4 SMC count as 0 squad equivalents.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was indirectly
Right,
correct.
yeah.
All right. So the half squad in BB6 is going to advance into crest status, or to at least get in the same location as the crest status guy. I'm going to have the 2 squads in DD6 will advance to the CC7. The squad and leader in DD5 are going to advance into the woods. EE6 will continue into the trenches. Got it there. EE5 will advance on top of the trenches. FF4 will do the same thing to FF5. The squad and leader will go into the hex. Well, specifically, they will go into crest status. Yonder. You have trench, and then cool. So they're like that. Same thing with the EA8. The 2 squads in DD7 will also go into crest status. They will point, I guess, that way. one of my squads in the house will go into the woods. In CC6, the 2 squads and leader will also go into the crest centers. And I don't think I have any other moves. So CC, we got our CC over here. There's no ambush. I'm fighting at a 1 to 2 with hand-to-hand numbers. You have a 1 to 1 with a -1.
Yep.
Hey, I get a kill. Hey, you also get a kill. All right. That's it for CC. Rally, or turn 3.
Gotta set up some units.
Yep. Just gonna take off the moves. I don't think anything else is on board.
If I'm reading this crest status right, you're facing the other way. You're facing that direction, not this direction, correct?
Oh no, I was under the impression that the crest status is the sides the thing is pointing at. Crest status.
I was assuming that the crest status, the arrows were pointing to the areas allowed for area fire. Its crest counter must be placed so that the middle of the 3 hex sides it could conceivably protect is the hex side that crossed it. Where's the example here? It is entrenched. Also, can I just say, this is not a comment on you, but a comment on ASL, that it is exceedingly gamey to allow you to know where my reinforcements are coming in.
Yeah, that's kind of why I always want to do I would love to be able to do a thing where I had like a third party where I could give them the scenario card, and essentially what they would do is like I wouldn't even look at it beforehand, right? And the idea would be like that person just snips the um, the 2 sides and be like, all right, here's your information, and here's the other information. Like the original plan I had for this like a mega project or whatever was to have like goon participation the entire time, or at least like hopefully. And what I was gonna do would be like all the information that the goons get would be hidden, so they wouldn't know like where reinforcements come in, how many, like what the OOB has. Like if there's tanks, like there might be a snippet that I would put in that just says like, oh, the rumbling engines or whatever. You assume, or you may assume, that there are vehicles in the area, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, without that sort of double blind nature of it, yeah, it is kind of a little gamey. Also, yeah, the crest, it points the area that it points to, the black bars are. That's the area you're looking at. If you look at B20.92, there's an example there. And if I understand it correctly, it's if you shoot out of the other sides that aren't covered, that's the area of fire that it refers to.
I'm gonna lose this because my troops are gonna get chewed up because I can't. I have to bring them on.
I mean, mm, yeah, that's why I sort of I don't like the idea that you get that they wouldn't like. I don't get why it would force you on this side and not like this entire side. Like, why reinforcements not come in on either board edge and just make them choose like one?
Yeah, I don't know. There's many things that I question about this
But
particular scenario. You know.
well, this whole module, I think it's good that this entire thing is only two scenarios because we can be like, all right, let's never, we do not have to touch these
I
creations.
think they have the right idea. I think you do need to change the trenches. I think you do need to. They need to modify the wire rules a little bit because I think the
Mm.
wires in World War One were significantly more elaborate than the wires in World War Two.
Well,
Um,
so this kind of goes into the comment I made at the start. If I'm gonna air out dirty laundry, the way I would have done this would be um, the like it would be prior to French setup, and this would be an SSR. So prior to French setup, the German player designates, let's say, uh, four non-continuous wire hexes. Um, if you really wanted to, you could specify which ones. I think that'd be a little cheap because if the French player knows this, it's like with the reinforcements. If one side knows it, you can kind of game the system a little bit. But I think it'd be really interesting if the SSR was, pick four non-adjacent wire hexes and roll a DR, a single dice. On a one or a two, the wire is destroyed to signify that like engineers or whatever crawled up to the lines overnight, snipped the wire, and came back and were able to tell command whatever. So if you're really unlucky, you don't clear a single wire. But if you're lucky, you get one or two. If anything, boost the single die roll to 1 to 3, and at least like you have avenues to get into. And when all things are said and done, the Germans can use whatever advantage they have in a little bit freer movement, um, without like the same sort of baggage that is like getting under wire and problems with routing and so on.
just to be just to build on that, I think it might be interesting to just say rather than having to pre-place it, when a unit with a leader approaches a wire hex, you just you can say okay, they get a
If they spend all their movement, or if they spend 3 movement factors, they can clear a wire or something.
no, just say that like they get a die roll modified by the leader quality because you got Rommel, so we got to include that in there. And if it succeeds, then the units treat the wire as not non-existent. They can move right through it, and that's to represent prior scouting, or you found, because there are lanes through these wires, like that sort of thing, or
Sure.
they breach the wire in some fashion. You find a way through, and there is maybe slap a limit. Like at most there can be 4 or 5 of these hexes. I don't know. It may not even matter, to be honest. But
Well,
that way,
that's sort of why I think that having it at the start is better, because if the German player doesn't even know where the French player is, then which would make sense. You wouldn't really know where all their units are set up, and they change patrol patterns or whatever. But if you can select non-continuous wire, then a German player might say like, okay, well, I can either put all my effort onto one side, say like FF4, DD5, BB5, and Z6. But if the French player decides to set up hard there, then me clipping those wire counters means nothing, right? I might as well spread and maybe say I'll get 2 over on this side and 2 up here.
Sure. The thing that I would say there is that interestingly, looking back on it, I would have changed my setup completely. I would have had everybody in a trench and therefore concealed or hidden, and maybe had just a couple units kind of behind that, in like these hexes here, with up on crest status doing Overwatch, that kind of thing. But I don't know, that gets a little bit, it's weird. It doesn't reflect the scenario's like premise really, which is that Rommel is being sneaky and getting up to the
Well,
getting up
it's
into
again, like it goes back to clipping wires before everything, signifying that like they're pre-planning this. Makes sense to me. The other way you could do it would be if you gave them like a module of artillery. So maybe like you can pre-designate artillery. It's guaranteed to resolve. So no matter what, you don't pull a red card and essentially screw yourself over. And at most, you could hit like because artillery is a center hex and then the 6 hexes surrounding it. You could get 3 potential wire openings, right? So like just make it so that on a dice roll, because you roll effects on each hex separately. So you could get like I will on a dice roll of 8 or less, you destroy the wire. So at least like my whole point is that there should be something that um, allows the German player to remove wire without getting stuck up on it, if only because the mechanics of movement within the module make it so that everybody gets 6 movement factors for being with the leader. The point of wire and why it's dangerous is that without a leader, you run the risk of being caught on the wire 2-3 turns, right? But because the mechanics in this module make it so that everybody has 6 by moving with the leader, you're always guaranteed to get under the wire, which I kind of guess if we're talking about how there would be laneways and whatever, but I don't know. It all seems strange in the end.
I mean, I think that the World War One rules, particularly the terrain and the obstacles and things like that, need another pass and another look at.
Yeah.
I think the free movement is fine. I got no issues with that. I think we probably should be concealing a bunch of guys. Now that I'm thinking about it, like everybody that's in a trench should be technically concealed from everybody that's not adjacent, because there's no line of
Well,
sight.
that's all down to claiming it, right? If you forget to claim it at the end of your turn, you just forfeit gains.
Yeah, no, I know, and we both have been doing it, so I'm not spectacularly upset about it.
Well, I just know I have to move, so regardless of if I gain it or not, like I can't be shot while I'm concealed, but as soon as I move, I'll drop it. So
Yeah,
it's it,
no, I know it's a thing, but yeah. So yeah. All right. My guys are set up. They're gonna
okay.
get shot to pieces, but oh well.
Well, you can always wait till the advanced phase and then just like bum rush
Yeah,
certain
no, yeah,
locations.
that's a thought.
Or if you go down here, at least like I don't know, range coming into play a little bit more. I don't know.
No,
I don't want
so
to influence decisions.
full range is basically out to the edge of the board. I'm not like no. You've effectively blocked. You've bottled the reinforcements. That's fine. So it's just a question of whether you can clear all of the trenches in the next 3 turns essentially.
Yeah, which probably won't happen.
It's pretty tough, but you never know. I mean, I don't know. If you get enough guys in there, the 2 hex limit is going to be kind of interesting, and I think you're going to have to start moving some of these guys down the other trench line to kind of get in behind me.
Oh, for sure. But so that was the other thing too that's confusing about the scenario because it says all French trench, which like the gullies are treated as deep trenches, but they're they're just treated as them. They're not actually deep trenches, right? So
I was kind of
does
reading it as they're supposed to be trenches. Like the suspicion I got is that they were like, oh hey, we can just use the gullies as trenches when they were doing the scenario. So that was how I was reading it. That the French had dug a couple of lines of trenches, which makes sense given the way like over here you've got a front trench line, that initial line, and then you've got a back trench line with a communication trench between it.
I sort of just saw it as like because they're natural gullies, they just treat them like that in order to make it easier to treat them as like the same continuous thing, because like I can't imagine how I would like I have to control all the hexes of the French. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 without CX and without leader bonus.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
you'd have to roll them with the leader, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I think my point is just that there's a lot of ground to cover, and all things considered, with wire delaying it, you can only go so fast, right?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I got to say, for doing that, you might have thrown another, one of your platoons over this side to kind of try and push it.
Yeah, but
That can be kind of the interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see whether you can do it, but yeah. Okay. I rally. Let's see. My self rally will be Z7. And they fail. The leader will attempt to rally himself and fail. And that's it.
and none for me.
Prep fire. BB7 will fire at CC8.
Okay.
It is 2 up 3.
2 up 3. What? BB7 is CC7.
BB7 to CC7, yes.
Yeah. So it's prep fire, doubled up 3.
Oh, doubled up 3, yes, I'm sorry. So 6 up 3. Nothing. AA8 will fire at DD7, the Crest Squad. So he is a 2 up 3, I believe, because you're in the. No. You are facing. Okay. Yeah, 2 up 3. 6, which is a pin test check.
Top, bottom. The 2 times I roll really well.
Z7 overstack means what? +1.
Yes, there's a +1 per overstack, I think.
All right, so they have a +1 because they're overstacked by 1 squad.
Okay.
Z7 will fire at CC6, the units on top, obviously. So that is a +3.
The units up top aren't entrenched, so there's a +1, and then it's
No, I
whatever
know.
your.
Okay, so it's +2. So 2 up.
Yeah.
Nothing. So that's it for prep fire. I'm moving into BB7. Assault move.
Okay.
The elite squad will drop down and be replaced by the first lines. Well, now both of them will drop down.
Okay.
I'm just gonna show this guy 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
This guy drops down. That's 3. 4 to there. Was 2 to get up into crest?
It's still 3 because ground snow.
That's 2. Defensive fire.
CC7, gonna shoot at the adjacent guys. 16 up 3. Right. The guys in DD8 or 7, sorry, are going to shoot at the crest guys in C7. So it's 8 up 3. 9 Pintash check.
Passes.
All I want is that sniper. No, that's it. Advanced fire phase.
The unit that moved in will fire from BB7 to CC7.
Okay.
So that's doubled halved, so it's 2
up 3.
And nothing. And I think that's it. Routing. I don't think we have anybody broken at the moment, right? Yeah, maybe needs to route.
I don't have anybody to write.
Yes, here we go. Hello.
There will be an ambush potential in GG7. Oh, let's take a number first too.
Good for my advances.
Yeah, I jumped the gun. Excited for ambush.
Right, combat. So it's regular close combat. We're not in a trench, so. Or no, is it auto?
It's at any point.
Yeah, all right, so it's auto.
Yeah, the rule is gas, poison gas, close combat. Yeah, it's only if they're not in the same location.
Okay, so ambush rolls.
Yeah, I rolled a 4.
So no ambush.
No change.
So I think I'm at a 3 to 2, and you are at a 1 to 1.
I'm gonna attack one squad, so I'll still be at 1 to 1.
Okay. So I'm at a 3 to 2 minus 1. And that's a kill.
Hey, I'll take it.
quite the bloody turn. And I think that's it for CC.
Yep. All right. You
Might as well call it
want
here.
to? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to ask the same thing.
I should do the weather just so we.
Yeah, that's right. 5, no change. All right. Let me save this. Fuller German start. It's together. Cool.
All right.
All right. So see you Wednesday.
Yep. I'll see you Wednesday.
Perfect. And yeah, if you've got any spare time or whatever, you want to try see if we can fix the LOS hindrance stuff, just give me a shout, and if I'm not busy, I'll more than happy to.
Yeah, I should have some time tomorrow. I'll fiddle around with it and shoot something over to you.
Cool.
Just so
Cool.
you see what's going on. All right, man. Well, have a good night, and I will.
You too.
See you sometime in the next few days.
And Resort, if you're still around, thanks for watching. I'll see everybody on Wednesday.